Alright, Geordie Prepper here, and day 6 of Check Your Preps. I'm checking water purification and filtration options, more the mobile stuff. I'm going to be doing my Check Your Preps in future videos, like on a room by room basis. In the case of the kitchen has everything to do with like my water filtration and purification. It has all of like obviously all my food stocks in, and I like to compartmentalize these things into the rooms, which are their namesakes. So obviously in a kitchen, you know, you do things with water and food anyways on a daily basis, so it just makes sense that I put my preps in these locations. From left to right, I'll just talk briefly about what I've got in front of you here, and then I'll just go through each individual item. So left to right, the first thing that we have is just a water bladder and a hose. Now I use this for my cycling, and this particular hose, it has like the cover on it just to give it a bit more weatherproofing from like sunlight and from the cold. The water bladder there is a 3 litre water bladder, so it's quite big, but it does fit into my cycling backpack very well. The next thing that you've got here is just some water purification tablets, and these are to filter water from 20 to 25 litres. And the next thing we have is water purification tablets again, but those are just 1 litre per tablet. Here we have the Life Straw, which is a personal water filtration system. Next to that we have a total dissolved solids meter, which is basically just tells you how many parts per million is in some water. Now that doesn't give you an indication of how safe the water is, but it can give you a good indication of how many particulates you are taking out through each stage of your filtration process. And next to that we have a Soya water filter, Soya Mini. I haven't even opened it yet. I got it a few months ago and I haven't even opened it yet, so I really need to open that and test it. At the far back we've got my H2 Go bag. This was inspired by the Urban Prepper to do that, so I'll show you what's in there. And next to that we've got the Lifesaver bottle, which I've had for a very long time. As part of checking my preps a couple of days ago, I was checking my stored water, and that included what was in here, so I'll just talk about that when we go through each item. So just checking the items left to right, we've got my hose, which I use with my water bladder. So basically I haven't used it in a while, so what I'm checking is I'm just checking that the ends here, because sometimes you do get a bit of water left over, even no matter how long you leave it out and how much you blow out the tube, there can still be water in there. So I'm just checking the ends, just making sure that there's no immediate like build up of anything on the tubing. Same goes with the water bladder itself. Just check that just briefly check inside, just make sure that there's nothing building up. You could even give it like a sniff just to see if you can smell anything, which I did earlier, and it's fine, so that's okay. They're both okay. Water purification tablets, you'll notice that the expiry on these is July 2017, which was 2 or 3 months ago, so these won't be as effective as what they should be, so I'm going to have to replace them. These water purification tablets, I've literally just bought them, and these have replaced some which were in the H2 Go bag, so these are good until 2022. Life Straw, I just have a look at it. Water straw even. Just unscrew the ends there, and I just check that there's no build up of anything. There's nothing obvious from any residue water that's been left on there which has caused like any bacteria to grow or anything, so that's fine. And in this case I'll take the top off. I'll check the mouthpiece. In the water straw you just unscrew the mouthpiece, and then I'll just check that the actual filter itself is okay, and I'll also look down the tube there and just make sure everything's fine. Don't know if you can see it, but in the bottom there's some beads that they roll around and help to take out the large particles which might be coming into the filter when you're sucking through it. So that all looks fine. Obviously after each use, you leave these out and you just let them air dry, which I did do. So it's really unlikely that there is mold on there, but or any bacteria growing, and there isn't, so they're fine. The TDS meter, I basically just check the switches on, which it does, and then I just turn it off again. Very occasionally I'll just check the water from the tap, just to see if there's any huge variation in what's happening with the water. The Sawyer Mini, I'm not really going to do much with that. I basically need to open it and I need to test it, before I can actually, do anything more with this. So the Lifesaver bottle here is part of the preps that I checked because I class it as a container which stores water because I keep water in it all the time. The water that was in there, I drank it, it was perfectly fine. All I did with this was I just took it apart, I pulled the filter out, I did a visual inspection, and I just made sure that it basically just works and it's going to be able to filter water safely. And then I just made sure everything's on tight. I checked the top mouthpiece there just to make sure that there was no buildup of anything. I checked the filter thoroughly, and I checked also whether it needed lubricated, the actual plunger. So the plunger here, you need to visually inspect that to see if it needs some grease on it, and it was fine. I did that a while ago, so that's okay. And then this is my H2Go bag. Again, like I said, it was inspired by the Urban Preppers. So in the first pouch here, I won't take it all out, I hopefully can just show you what's in here. Basically I've got a couple of small pouches here. These have got water filtration tablets in, and just a very tiny sort of first aid kit thing. It's really just a boo-boo kit. It's just got some wipes and just some plasters. In here we've got just some hair bands, and you'll see what they're for later, and 2 times 1 litre plastic containers, which you can put water in there, and then you obviously, because they hold 1 litre, you can use the water tablets with the plastic sealable containers, and you can make some safe water just using these 2 things. So that's what those are for. This thing here is a Bushbox stove. It's just a little mini stove which you can put firewood in, and then you can use it with the main item, which is in the top, which is in the bigger compartment here. And what I've got down here is just a lighter. That's just to make fire, basically, to use in combination with the small tiny stove there. And you can see down here I've got a water flask, and that's basically just filled with some liquid courage. So I've got some bullet bourbon in there. So the main compartment, it's really just got 3 things in here. It's just got a bandana, which is what the hairbands were for. Then it's just got a large canteen in there, and at the bottom is just a mug which the canteen fits into. This is a clean canteen. So basically to filter any water on the first stage, just put the bandana, you'd put the bandana over the top of the clean canteen, and then you'd use the hairbands just to keep it on there. And obviously water will pass through the bandana, and it'll filter the really large particles out, basically. So this was inspired by the Urban Preppers H2Go bag. It's not exactly like his, it's just tailored for what I need it for right now. So I mean, that's it. That's basically all of the water filtration and purification options that I'm checking. Like I said, I've got a gravity filter and I've got a water distiller, but the water distiller is probably not going to be an option if stuff hits the fan. the gravity filter I check on a monthly basis anyways. So that's it. I hope that you check your purification, filtration options. Be safe, be prepared, and check your preps.